Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to I Am Practically Spiritual podcast. I am Janet Weissman, and I am here with
Carlos Felipe, practical student.
Yes, and we just want to, again, as always, say how grateful we are that today's episode is sponsored by The Love Ladders, a collection of jewelry, small sculptural works where every piece shines as a reminder of love's true presence. And we are also grateful for the support of the Forgiveness Piece, a sculptural project devoted to forgiveness. It fits right in. And we want to invite you to visit theloveladders.com, theforgivenesspiece.com, to discover the many ways to express being practically spiritual. We also want to let you know, because we were just made aware that there was some computer issues with the Forgiveness Piece website. So if you went on and were not able to get past the first page, go back and try again. And when you do, be sure to use the coupon code SPIRITUAL, all caps, and you will receive a 25% discount. So here we are, episode 21. Okay, we're legal now. And we've made it to our fourth review in the workbook. And, we have a new format starting with this review that will be continued for the balance of the review sections in the workbook, because we're given a central theme to follow. So many students do not realize the importance of the reviews. And I know many over the years who simply skip over the review sections, wait for those new lessons. And the reason we stop and review the lessons is so we simply have a second experience of each lesson, and maybe we will see it differently during the review. The lessons are multifaceted, and there is truly great depth in each one, and every time we study them, we will find more than the first time or the last time. So we begin with the introduction to the review, and it explains so much before we even go forward. This review tells us it's time to begin preparations for part 2 of the workbook, and we're beginning to be made ready for that. And this begins with an important central theme, which is what we'll have in our future reviews, a central theme. This one is, my mind holds only what I think with God. Only the thoughts that are thought with God are worthy of being kept. So why would I want to keep illusory thoughts anyway? Illusory thoughts can be seen as those that have not been forgiven. Forgiveness will always play a huge part in the work that we are doing with the Course. Unforgiven thoughts hold the ego consciousness and will try to distract us from the truth. And the truth will never be replaced. No matter how hard the ego tries, the truth will always remain true. The idea of this central thought is for us to decide all of our thoughts will be only the ones that are in alignment with the one mind. Every one of those thoughts will bring us closer to our communion and reunion with our celestial parent. So, review lesson 141. My mind holds only what I think with God. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. And oh yes, one more thing. This time, there's no additional text in the review lessons. All we get are these 3 lines. All we are given is the central theme and the 2 lessons. What's in my mind? Is forgiveness there? It truly is all I need. It provides everything. It allows me to think as my Father does. And those thoughts are pure and free of judgment. My mind holds only those thoughts, the ones that I think with God. Review lesson 142. My mind holds only what I think with God. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. Let me remember, I am one with God. My Father's gifts are all around me, whether or not I notice and realize they're there. When I can glimpse one of the many gifts, such as peace and love, I will become grateful for those gifts. And these gifts have a wonderful byproduct. They help me to remember my relationship with my celestial parent, which reminds me of another gift Gratitude. Review lesson 143. My mind holds only what I think with God. You're going to hear that a lot today. In quiet, I receive God's word today. All that I give is given to myself. Within the stillness of God's mind, which is quiet, I am able to hear the voice for God speak to me. This serenity is another of the gifts. As I remain within that still center, I naturally now will extend it to others. Have you noticed that when you're upset or angry, how many people you meet during the day who are also upset and angry? What I give always returns to me. Review lesson 144. My mind holds only what I think with God. There is no love but God's. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Love is one. God is one. God's love is one. This simply means it's whole and complete. There are no exceptions or conditions within his love. We must love as our Father does. If there are conditions in how we love or who we love, that isn't love. It's a bargain or a contract that we are making that most certainly has one of those expiration dates. Love is continuous. A world without real love would never be the one that holds anything of value. It would never be what I want. The real world is the only one I want. Review lesson 145. My mind holds only what I think with God. And beyond this world, there is a world I want, and it's impossible to see two worlds. Since this world offers nothing of value, I must believe that there is something valuable my Father has created for me to have. That world, as I believe it to be, is filled with light and love. That world is within my grasp because it already resides within my mind, and it was placed there in the moment of creation. That is the world I want. There is another choice to make because I cannot experience the real and the unreal at the same time. That's impossible. It's impossible to see or be in two places at once. Haven't you heard many people say that? Or you said that? Well, it's true. Which world do I want to see? I must pick one. Review lesson 146. My mind holds only what I think with God. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. And I loose the world from all I thought it was. First of all, we are given a guarantee of success because we are told we cannot fail. When was the last time you received a guarantee that was this believable? With this lesson, we know we can seek and find. Current circumstances do not matter. We are being led surely by the one who knows the way we want to go. And the second lesson, I loose the world from all I thought it was. The second lesson is reminding us to untie all of the chains that have kept us in this world so I may join my guide with ease and no regrets. Lesson 147, the last one for today. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless, and let me perceive forgiveness as it is. So what actually has true value? What's the criteria? Well, one, it would have to be something that will last. It can't be temporary. The ephemeral has no true value. And two, it must be something that will be beneficial to everyone, not to the few, but for the all. And no one loses with the choice or feels guilty. If my perception of value doesn't adhere to these guidelines, I have not chosen wisely. And do you know what is valuable? Forgiveness is valuable. Forgiveness removes all of my thoughts that are tarnished with judgments and guilt. Now my thoughts and the mind that holds them is wiped clean of the past and prepared to receive whole and true thoughts. And that is definitely valuable. So there are 3 more review lessons, and we will address those next week. along with more big thought lessons. And we're giving these radical shifts to ponder. I did say, we're completing part 1 of the workbook, but I don't want to mislead you. We're not there yet. We have still 2 more sections of new lessons and 2 more reviews to go, but we will get there.
Yeah. It's 1/3 of the way, right?
Right. We're making a lot of progress.
Yes. And like you said, I think these reviews, they're great. This one I have truly enjoyed quite a bit. And there's a lot of material in the introduction that sometimes, like you mentioned, not to skip it because there's some good stuff and it tells us here. And I feel that it's preparing the ground for a different level.
Yes.
And these last set of lessons, they are so deep. Each one is so deep. And I would like to begin and share and wanted to kind of get your thoughts, guys. But the way we have to do this practice is to have first the thought, the main thought at the beginning. My mind holds only what I think with God.
Right.
And we are supposed to hold that, our thought, for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening. And for me, it was very interesting, to just have that experience of, it's kind of rewiring the mind and also trying to look for some silence. And I would love to hear some feedback of the experience that some of you guys had. So that was very interesting. And maybe if we could begin, one of the lessons that was very impactful for me was 132.
I loosed the world from all I thought it was.
Yes.
And therein is the issue, what I thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of share, and then if you can tell us, but in paragraph 4, it says, I love how it's mentioned here, that sometimes when we came to this world, we think that, we come and things happen to us just as victims. But here it reads, perhaps you think you did not make the world, but you came unwillingly to what was made already, hardly waiting for your thoughts to give it meaning. Yet in truth, you found exactly what you looked for when you came. So
Yes.
Would that mean that we write our own script before we come?
Yes, we have done that. And, that phrase of, wherever you go, there you are. So, I brought with me all of the lessons, whether I realized or not, that I need to learn. All things are lessons God would have me learn. And I brought them with me, even though I totally forgot about that I did that, the veils of forgetfulness. But so I came here and, and I wasn't brought against my will. I was willing to enter into this illusion, thinking that it was going to hold something really good.
And sometimes we forget that. So I would love to, for me, it was very impactful that how he puts it up front, that sometimes we forget. And that brings us to what you also mentioned, that we are as God created us.
Yes.
So this whole first part for me is being kind of undoing and removing the thoughts that we are our little selves. Right?
Yes.
And not our big selves. So we have to kind of remove all the stuff and to remember again that we are, our essence is as God created us.
Exactly. And that's, you totally summed up what part 1 of the workbook is about. Part 1 of the workbook is the undoing of the ego mind. And then we go into part 2, which is like, we'll go ahead and say that now our mind is a blank slate. It is empty. It is ready to, that vessel is ready to be filled up with holy thoughts and thoughts that are beneficial and true and real. But, we didn't have those before. So we're undoing so we can have what it is we really want.
Yeah, because I feel these lessons also have upped the ante, and the ante in the sense that even just this lesson 132, if you look at completely and just there's so much there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it has been said, and I believe it is true, that, if we totally understood just one lesson, but fully and completely, then we would understand everything that this course is teaching us, because the whole is in each part. And I love in this lesson 132 the prayer lines that, were given to use as we practice. I who remain as God created me would loose the world from all I thought it was, for I am real because the world is not, and I would know my reality.
Oh, you can just stay with that.
Just stay with that, yeah.
And then the other lesson that I would like us to touch on would be 134. Let me perceive forgiveness is as it is.
Okay.
And then, in paragraph 4, there's this line: because you think your sins are real, you look on pardon as deception. For me, that was impactful because forgiveness, it's such a key part and foundational, but then how to do it. And then this lesson kind of easy as on it made it easy to kind of understand that the whole thing is because we think sins are true, and that's
right.
the illusion.
Right, definitely. And when we get into part 2 of the workbook, and it has major thoughts and then the lessons after, and it tells us, forgiveness is like the first one that is telling us that, what we think our brother did to us is not true. And that's the whole thing. It wasn't true. That's the deception, because we believe in the deception.
And we, invite us to practice forgiveness, because there's a muscle that we have to practice,
Right.
And I thought, sharing kind of an example for me, I use it sometimes as students. We don't always do the course perfectly. We cannot do every lesson as it says. So, it would be a good exercise, and I invite and would love to see what you guys think. But just for us to begin forgiving ourselves for not being the perfect student.
Right.
And that's like a practice, because forgiveness, I think, is the key. And this lesson right here, I invite you to review the whole lesson, because it explains why forgiveness is key and how to do it and how to
Yes.
get there.
Right.
And the last thing, another impactful line was in paragraph 9. It talks about this door. There is a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness, and perceive it opens wide in welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a peaceful and great invitation.
Well, go ahead and read more of that paragraph, because I think the whole thing really brings it together.
Okay, so the next says, when you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for that is self-deception. Ask instead, what I accuse myself of doing this. Would I accuse myself of doing this?
That is really powerful. That is really powerful, because we turn it around. So what I think my brother or my sister did to me, and I'm holding judgment and grievance for. Now, what if I did that? How would I feel about myself? Am I going to judge myself, or am I going to say that it was a necessary thing that I had to do? So it's like, let me think of this in another way. And very often is that, well, no, I wouldn't judge myself. I wouldn't, and I use the word condemn. Would I condemn? No, I wouldn't condemn myself if I did that, because I wouldn't have done it unless it was necessary. So let me give grace now to someone else.
And understand that sin at the end is not real.
Right.
Therefore,
Right.
At the end of the whole thing, the only one that you have to forgive is yourself.
Right. And remember, sin, that archery term, is missing the mark. That's all it is. It's missing the mark. It's a whoopsie. Okay. It's not, it is not punishable by death or dismemberment or
So then
exile.
again, and that's why we kind of always get to choose again, right?
Right.
Look at it with a different
always
perspective and lose again.
get to choose again. So I want everyone to remember that you can contact us at iampracticallyspiritual@gmail.com with any questions or comments, and we will happily respond. We're here to help. And of course, we have to remember to breathe and smile.